Howdy. Today I'm doing my Profiling a Leader case study on Alan Mulally. The reason I chose Alan Mulally is because he is recognized as one of the top 10 leaders in the world today. He's noted for his accomplishments of turning Ford Motor Company around in a time of crisis. He also caught my eye because I like American muscle cars, and Ford Motor Company makes some of the best ones around. Alan Mulally studied aeronautical engineering and business management during his time in college. He started working for Boeing as an engineer in the 1970s. He was recognized in 1978 as Engineer of the Year by Boeing and the National Society of Professional Engineers. He became vice president and general manager of the Boeing's 777 project. The 777 became the best-selling aircraft by Boeing. Mulally and his team were repeatedly recognized for their work on the project, and they won the 1995 Robert J. Collier Trophy for Greatest Achievements in Aeronautics and Astronautics of the Year. He quickly climbed the ranks at Boeing. He became Senior Vice President of Airplane Development for Boeing's Commercial Airplane Program, President of Boeing's Information Space Defense Systems, and President of Boeing Commercial Airplanes. His progress culminated in the role of Executive Vice President of Boeing Company and President and Chief Executive Officer of Boeing Commercial Aircrafts. In the early 2000s, Boeing lost a significant amount of money due to the 9/11 tragedy, but Mulally is credited with recovering the company. He generated over $22 billion in new business by 2005. Shortly after, Alan Mulally took on another challenge, Ford Motor Company. Ford Motor Company started with just 10 workers in 1903. The founder, Henry Ford, came up with the idea of the assembly line. This new process revolutionized industry and cut the time to make a car from 12.5 hours to 1.5 hours. This process is why Ford Motor Company is still around today and one of the leading automobile companies around the world. Ford does not only produce cars. In times of need, they have stepped up and lent a helping hand to the nation. They produced Jeeps and warplanes during the Second World War to help the war effort. Ford is a truly global organization. They operate across North America and 125 different countries worldwide. Since Henry Ford's time, they have been strictly a hierarchy-structured organization. And Ford is the only American automobile manufacturer to not receive government bailout during the financial crisis of 2008, thanks to Alan Mulally, which you will find out later. For this case study, I decided to look at one of the challenges Alan Mulally faced as a leader. Mulally took over Ford Motor Company in 2006. At this time, Ford was on the brink of bankruptcy. Its losses were greater than $12 billion, and its stock reached an all-time low in 2008, which was $1.01. Shortly after becoming CEO of Ford Motor Company, Mulally said no matter how bad Ford Motor Company's problems are today, they aren't as bad as Boeing's were on September 11, 2001. Whenever Mulally became CEO of Ford Motor Company, he truly rebuilt the organization from the ground up. At Ford, Mulally shifted the company structure from a hierarchy, which according to McGraw-Hill is a chain of command, a control mechanism for making sure the right people do the right things at the right time. This requires managers to consult with everyone above them and around them to get anything done, which takes time and ultimately money. He switched from the hierarchy to a matrix structure. The matrix structure combines functions and divisional chains of command into a grid so that there are two command structures, vertical and horizontal. This is where subordinates report directly to their project manager and the vice president of their division. This allows the company to become more of a network so that everyone knows what's going on and everyone knows everyone's job. Mulally also decided that Ford needed to be simplified. At the time, they were producing 97 different cars around the world. He also shifted the company's culture away from a hardcore hierarchy to more of a clan or adhocracy culture. Ford Motor Company is still considered a hierarchy culture, but Mulally decided to change to more of a morale-based culture. When Mulally took over Ford Motor Company, according to one of the articles I read, the culture was one of mistrust. Managers were thought to be the problem instead of have a problem, and if they ran into an issue, they would usually be fired. Mulally stopped the use of coercive power, which results from managers' authority to punish subordinates for having a problem. When he took over, he turned the company around and made a culture that would foster collaboration between employees and business partners. On top of changing the culture and the structure of the company, he implemented weekly business plan review meetings. Every business leader and functional leader attends from around the world, whether in person or online. They look at global trends, competitors, customer satisfaction, and demographic trends. They discuss how these trends are evolving to stay one step ahead of their competition. He uses rational persuasion to encourage open, honest discussion and collaboration focused on finding solutions rather than placing blame. Rational persuasion is trying to convince someone with reason, logic, or facts. He called all of this change One Ford, making the company one. This program this program is very relationship oriented and wants the standard of Ford to be one that everyone matters and everyone's opinions matter. It brings together global partners and global employees. It focuses on making better cars and trucks during the time of financial crisis, and it focused on arranging financial support to pay for all these projects. These implementations Mulally made into Ford Motor Company saved it during the 2008 recessions and turned deficits into profits, so the company did not have to take government bailouts like General Motors and Chrysler. Looking at the challenges Mulally faced at Ford Motor Company, I came up with Mullay's leadership style. In an interview, Mulally says that it is an honor to serve. He is known as a very humble leader. Mulally also describes his leadership style as positive leadership. In his words, this is conveying an idea that there is a way forward. This way, everyone feels included and their opinions matter. It makes people enjoy their work and want to help find solutions to problems. Mulally utilizes the control process and SMART goals with weekly business plan review meetings. He is a very results-oriented person. He wants to see the progress the company is making. He utilizes SMART goals and keeps track of how these goals are progressing in his weekly review meetings. SMART goals are goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, results-oriented, and have target dates. He is also a very relationship-oriented person and wants the standard at Ford to be that everyone matters and everyone's opinions matter. This does not mean that he loses sight of his goals. He is very task-oriented. He's very task-oriented and leads the company so that it runs smoothly and does not waste time, money, and resources to get the job done. Most of all, he's a very empowering leader. In meetings, he leads with positive comments rather than starting off with what the problem is. Instead of saying, "Why did you do this?" it's, "How can we help you?" He leads with a very optimistic attitude to promote progress throughout the company and towards the goal. He has shifted the culture of Ford so much that employees started to believe in the company again, and they even carry around a card with the business plan, culture, and expected behavior on it. With this leadership style, there's no wonder that he is one of the top 10 leaders in the world today, and so many companies want him with their organization. For my personal leadership style, I like to consider myself as leading by example. The picture on the right depicts what I see as a leader. They're right there with you, helping you out. They're not sitting on the sidelines telling you what to do. People tend to follow better whenever you're right there working with them. I am also a very competitive-based leader. Leading in sports has made it so that it's who can do the most, the quickest, with the best results. Also, in my leadership, I have always been under a hierarchy structure. People tell me what to do, and I divvy up the work and tell others the plan. When I am in charge, I'm a very results and task-oriented person. I want to get the job done quickly and efficiently with little waste of time, because the quicker the project gets done, the quicker we can move on to something else, and the old project is not on our minds anymore. Since I like to lead by example and help out with the work, I guess I would consider myself a pace setter. I usually expect people I am working with to keep up with me and work to the same pace I am working. I have found that this leadership style seems to work with some people, but others get frantic when they cannot keep up. I try to get my part done, but then I try to go back and help others so they do not feel overwhelmed. Overall, I think I can improve on my leadership skills, especially after doing this case study on Alan Muley. He is a fantastic leader and has great people skills to get people to follow him, which I would say is one of my weaknesses. I hope you have enjoyed learning about Alan Muley and his challenges with Ford. He is truly a great leader. Thank you.